Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Ozcast.
Ever feel like you're drowning in information? You know, you want to be informed, but it's like a fire hose sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
So that's what we're trying to help with, right?
Yeah.
To try to cut through the noise.
Absolutely. Get to the good stuff.
So you sent us this CNN YouTube transcript.
Oh, yeah. This one's interesting.
It's about a potential U.S. missile defense system.
Yeah.
They're calling it the Golden Dome.
Mm-hmm.
And then also it talks about a new fighter jet, the F-47.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do a deep dive into this, break it down and figure out what it all means.
Yeah, I'm curious about this Golden Dome thing myself, Is it even feasible?
Yeah, and the F-47, like what role does that play?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how does it all fit together?
So let's start with the Golden Dome.
Okay.
So like right away, I think of Israel's Iron Dome.
Yeah.
They've had some success with that.
Right. Makes sense.
But the U.S. is so much bigger than Israel. I mean, it's not even close.
That's the first thing that jumps out at me, too. The scale.
Israel is what, like 8,400 square miles? Something like that?
Yeah, about the size of New Jersey.
New Jersey,
Yeah.
yeah. And the U.S. is almost 4 million square miles.
Huge difference, right?
It's gigantic.
Like trying to protect your entire house versus like just one room.
Exactly. So how do you even begin to think about a system like that?
Well, I got to think about the practicalities.
Yeah.
I mean, the technology, the infrastructure, the cost.
Yeah, all of that.
It's mind-boggling.
And in the CNN piece, the expert they interviewed, Colonel Leighton, he's retired Air Force, he said a nationwide shield might not be the way to go. He said it would probably make more sense to focus on protecting the most important areas.
Okay, yeah, that's probably more realistic.
Like major cities, New York, D.C., San
Kind of
Francisco.
places where an attack would be the most devastating.
Exactly. And then also critical infrastructure like power grids and government facilities.
Makes sense to prioritize those areas.
But it does raise the question then, what about everywhere else?
Right. Are those areas just left more vulnerable?
Exactly. And what does that mean for the people living there?
Something to think about.
So let's talk about the threats. Where might these missiles even be coming from?
Well, the transcript mentions Israel and their situation with nearby threats.
Right.
That the U.S. is bordered by oceans, and then Canada and Mexico.
Yeah, and Colonel Leighton, he pretty much says outright, you don't need a missile defense system for Canada or Mexico.
Makes sense.
So that really narrows it down to long-range missiles.
Which brings us to the big one, hypersonic missiles.
Yeah, those are the ones everyone's worried about.
Russia and China are developing them.
And they travel so fast, like, it's almost unimaginable.
It's a whole different ballgame, right? Like, how do you even stop something moving that quickly?
It's got to be incredibly difficult.
Well, it reduces the time you have to react,
Yeah.
detect it, track it, and then try to intercept it.
And they can maneuver, too, right? They're not just on a fixed trajectory.
Exactly. It's not like the old ballistic missiles that just followed a predictable path.
So your sensors have to be super advanced, your algorithms have to be amazing.
And your interceptors have to be lightning fast and super agile.
I mean, it sounds almost impossible.
Well, not entirely. There is some good news.
Oh, yeah.
Colonel Leighton mentioned that Ukraine has actually had some success shooting down hypersonic missiles.
Really?
Yeah, using the U.S. Patriot system.
Wow, so it's not completely hopeless.
It shows that existing systems with some upgrades and new countermeasures, they can be effective.
That's good to hear.
It's a real-world example.
Yeah, it shows that we're not starting from scratch.
Right.
So let's sum up this Golden Dome idea.
Okay.
The size of the U.S. is a massive challenge.
Yeah, that's the elephant in the room.
And the main threat seems to be these long-range, super-fast missiles, especially the hypersonic ones.
Right, but we're not totally defenseless.
No, but it does seem like this idea of a nationwide, impenetrable dome, it's probably not realistic.
Maybe more of a concept than a practical solution.
Yeah.
At least in the near term.
It seems like a more targeted approach, defending key areas, might be the way to go.
Yeah, that seems more achievable.
Still incredibly complex,
Yeah.
but at least it's within the realm of possibility.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's switch gears now.
Okay.
Let's talk about this new F-47 fighter jet.
All right.
Boeing just got a huge contract for it, like $20 billion.
That's a lot of money.
It is, and it's designed to get past enemy air defenses.
Specifically, they mentioned China and Russia in the transcript.
Yeah, so it's clearly connected to all this missile defense stuff. It's another piece of the puzzle.
Right. Two sides of the same coin, you know.
Exactly.
One's about protecting ourselves from attack, and the other is about projecting power.
Making sure we can operate in hostile airspace if we need to.
And deterring aggression?
Yeah, and maintaining air superiority, that's still crucial.
Absolutely.
But the expert on CNN said the U.S. Air Force is already pretty good at getting through air defenses.
They mentioned the F-22 and the F-35.
Yeah, those are our top-of-the-line fighters right now.
So what's the point of the F-47?
That's what I was wondering.
Well, it's supposed to replace the F-22 eventually.
Okay.
And some people think it might be a fighter bomber, do both jobs.
Interesting.
But I think the real key here is that they're thinking about the future.
Oh, what do you mean?
Countries like Russia and China, they're not just standing still.
Right, they're always improving their technology.
Their air defenses are getting better all the time.
So the F-47 is being designed to counter those future advancements.
Exactly. It's about staying ahead of the curve.
Making sure we can still operate in contested airspace, even as the defenses get tougher.
Right, because if we can't get through their defenses, we can't project power.
Makes sense.
And this is a constant cycle, It's like a technological arms race.
The transcript even mentions that China is working on a 6th-generation fighter.
That's right. They're not sitting around waiting for us to catch up.
So we have to keep innovating, keep developing new technologies.
Exactly. That's the only way to maintain our advantage.
That sounds expensive.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is.
But I guess that's the price of security.
I guess so.
So the F-47, it's not really about addressing a weakness we have right now.
No, it's about making sure we don't have a weakness in the future.
It's about anticipating what our adversaries might be able to do and developing countermeasures.
Exactly. It's a long game.
Okay, so let's bring it all together for our listeners.
Right.
We talked about this Golden Dome missile defense system.
Yeah.
Huge challenges, especially with those hypersonic missiles.
Right. The scale of the U.S. makes it really tough.
And a nationwide shield is probably not going to happen anytime soon.
No, more likely a targeted defense of key areas.
Exactly.
But it's still a big deal, trying to defend against those kinds of threats.
Yeah, for sure. And then we talked about the F-47 fighter jet.
Which is all about maintaining our edge in the air.
Right. Making sure we can operate even as enemy defenses get more sophisticated.
And countering their new aircraft.
Like that 6th-generation fighter China's working on.
Exactly. It's a constant back and forth.
So both of these things, the Golden Dome and the F-47, they're about enhancing our defenses.
Absolutely. They're two different approaches to the same problem.
And it shows how complex this all is.
Oh, yeah. There's no easy answers here.
It's not just about technology. It's about geopolitics. It's about constantly assessing the threats.
It's a dynamic environment, always changing.
So as we wrap up, it's clear that national security is getting more and more challenging.
No doubt about it.
A nationwide missile defense system is a huge undertaking, maybe even impossible.
The cost, the technology, the scale, it's all daunting.
But we have to do something, right? Those hypersonic missiles are a real threat.
Absolutely.
And then on the other side, we have to keep pushing the boundaries of our own technology.
Like with the F-47.
Yeah, we can't fall behind.
If we do, we risk losing our advantage.
And that's a dangerous place to be.
It really makes you think, about the future of warfare.
Yeah. Where does it all go from here?
I mean, these are just two examples.
What other technologies are being developed?
The ethical implications of all this.
And how much are we willing to spend on defense?
It's a lot to think about.
It really is.
But these are important questions.
Yeah.
Ones we need to be asking ourselves.
Absolutely.
Well, that was a good discussion.
Yeah, thanks for breaking it all down.
No problem. It's always good to dig into these issues.
And for our listeners out there, we hope this has given you some food for thought.
Yeah, hopefully it sparks some curiosity.
And maybe even a little bit of healthy concern.
Because these are things that affect all of us.
They do. So stay informed, stay engaged, and keep those questions coming.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive.
Until then, take care.
Yeah.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.